Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, and today I have with me Andrew Jernigan, CEO at Insured Nomads. Andrew, thank you for being here today. How's it going?
Going very well, thank you. It's a fabulous afternoon where I am. I'm in the Philadelphia area. I moved here about a year ago from Rio de Janeiro. So
Oh, wow.
where are you joining in from
that is
today?
a big change. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
And we have listeners from all over the world, I'm sure, and so this is fun because the world has shifted drastically over the last couple of years, and we're going to see it continue to shift. And I think as in risk, things have got to change a lot faster than they have been, I believe.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that completely. So Andrew, well, first of all, thank you for joining me today. And number two, we always give the guest a chance to give kind of the elevator pitch for their company. So what is Insured Nomads?
Insured Nomads is, I would say insurance is a service for those who are spending time outside their home country, protecting themselves from accident, medical, and even their devices, their personal belongings. So I'll simplify that a little bit because, you think about your health insurance, usually that doesn't go with you when you travel or relocate to another country. These days with work from anywhere, many people are saying, hey, I'm going to go work from South America for the next 3 months. While others say, I'm just going to go live in Portugal. I was waiting until I retire, but now I'm going to go ahead and go there anyway. And since they can work from the location of their choice. So companies with group benefit plans that cover their expat employees, all the way to individuals who have the freedom to choose their plan. And those are embedded within ecosystems, whether those are global payroll and benefit providers to apps from hotels and hospitality, airlines, all the way through to distributed through the leading brokers of the world, Worldwide Broker Network, to the Gallagher and IMA One Digital that represent our plans that we build. We come at it from an MGA model so that 100% of the risk is transferred, but we're designing products that the world needs that go way beyond the traditional medical, because really, so many people that are living the adventurous lifestyle like this feel like they don't get ill or injured. So they feel like they're wasting their money. It's like, man, I've bought travel insurance and I never use it. So the next time they go, they don't buy it. Nothing happens. The next time they go, nothing happens. And then there's that one time that something happens. So like, man, I should have gotten it. Should have spent that $50. But, in global health insurance, similarly, I lived in Ghana, West Africa for about 5 years and had Aetna International, spent $60,000 over that period of time for my family for global health insurance. And we had one claim, $5,000, and my out-of-pocket was $3,000. So it's a very profitable niche, but in most cases, sure, there are those medevac flights from West Africa down to Joburg, or where from one region to another to get to medically necessary appropriate care that end up with $100,000 bill. So this type policy is extremely necessary, but we've taken it up a notch to where it's tech enabled up to what people are used to in this society. We update the apps on our phone on a weekly or every 2 weeks. We update the software on our computers so often, but yet in our space in insurance, how often is the insurance policy updated? Is there technology synced to it? Is there a policy ID card in your Apple Wallet? Is there an app that has everything centralized? Oftentimes not. And so what we've done makes a lot of that easier, brings it up to this generation, protecting these devices that we live with around the world, protecting our health, our safety, our security, our mental health, having unlimited access to licensed professional counselors for mental health
So
in language around the world.
It really covers a wide variety of coverages. I thought it was basically international health insurance for people traveling for significant periods of time. So that is very, very interesting. And I see that you created the company just before the pandemic, like just a few months before the pandemic.
Right.
So
we started
is...
in October. October of 19. Of course, not knowing there's a pandemic coming, and that put our build in a prolonged strategy season of deciding, okay, how is this going to look? Who are we going to collaborate with to build out the best products? Tying into the MasterCard network was part of that, so that we could simplify that whole reimbursement process that is so arduous within our space. So yeah, it's been a long process during the pandemic when a lot of lockdowns and changes had to be done, but really grateful for it. It's given us something that has helped us in this process.
So how did the idea happen? What was it, because of your time living abroad? Like how did you realize that there was that there was a need for this?
I was in Northern California brokering about 25 of the leading international companies in this space, from short-term travel to the global health expat plans for third country nationals and those on international assignment. And one of the major companies that I was representing was hacked, and they couldn't even view their own policies, couldn't view the folks that were trying to file claims for 3.5, 4 months. And it was kind of in that period of time that I realized, wow, we need some change. The broker portals for many of the companies were outdated. Most of these carriers, their bread and butter is through domestic, and then they have a large revenue base from international, but that doesn't get the funding for innovation. And so pulled together a team of founders, Alan Koski, who built the distribution network for Cigna Global with their global plans, Brett Eastep, who was with United Healthcare Global and Aetna International, Marcus Zettner, who built the global provider network for Cigna, then AIG, MetLife, and United, and others that just said, okay, look, we've got to build something better. And then the spotlight was put on our types of products with work from anywhere. And, it was a strong market to begin with. But now with so many people having the freedom to choose where they hire people, but also where their employees can be based.
And in your brokerage days, why were you doing so much global health business? Northern California, was it mostly basically the tech people already had a lot of freedom and travel, and that's why you saw a lot of that business, like Silicon Valley types?
There was that, but there's, with the humanitarian, paragovernmental organizations, and the world is my playground, has been. I've lived and worked across 5 continents in the last 20 years, married, single, and raising my kids around the world. So that's been my slant always, and trying to find the best solution, no matter what the first passport was of my client. So if they were South African, I might suggest a South African company for them. If they're Asian, might be better if they're getting service in their home, a company from their home country. So it's, there is such a need for a shift within this space. And really it's exhilarating, because now that this workforce freedom that's been unleashed, it's presented an unprecedented need that we've answered. And, this eureka moment that has gone off within our team I think that you and the listeners will agree. This is just a thing to where, yeah, our computers, our phones, our iPads, our headphones, all these things are so valuable to us for our work. And if we're overseas and something happens, we've got to have a fast and efficient system to compensate us when something goes wrong.
Okay, how does the contents piece of the coverage work? Is it replacement cost? What kind of hazards are covered?
So of course that varies. So if we're talking about
Mhm.
our laptop, spill a glass of water sitting in our Airbnb in Portugal, then that's going to cover that damage. And that's at the actual cash value. So if it's totally damaged, it's going to be at the replacement, at the actual cash value of that machine. If it can be fixed, then it's the cost of the repair. And that's for stolen, breaks, etc. And you're not limited on how many claims per year. This is a policy that's coming out at the end of this quarter that I'm describing. It's a protection plan. So you're not having to get something for your computer, your phone, your sunglasses, your backpack, your clothing, your espresso machine. It's all covered up to 25 devices, unlimited claims throughout the year. So it's a major cost savings on a group employer basis or just individual or family plan. But when we go over to our short-term or the global health insurance, so much is based on the phone. With our AI and machine learning to know where you are, the employer can log into the dashboard and send you a push notification to say, hey, we see you're a block from where that bomb went off. Are you okay? We're also calling, our alarm center is calling saying, hey, are you okay? This is happening. Do you need to be evacuated? Boots on the ground response. That's an AXA XL component to our membership that is very different because insurance is usually reactive. And this is a proactive aspect to where we're actually reaching out to you and saying, hey, this is happening. We can tell where you are. Great privacy control settings, but for natural disaster, political unrest, personal safety, to step in and get you to the other side of town if something's happening and you happen to be staying at the Ritz and where the riots are taking place in Hong Kong or wherever. So if that phone is broken or damaged, screen gets cracked, and we can't be messaging you and calling you and saying, hey, can we step in and get you to safety? We got to make sure that's replaced. No matter where you are in the world, not a thing of, oh, mail us your phone. No, it's got to be fast.
Okay, so you're really looking at a broad set of coverages.
Yes, from health to accident to device, because we're so connected to our devices.
Okay, and it's distributed both through the website and through brokers.
Correct, and APIs, so it can be in hospitality, travel, your travel apps, and deploy it in all different sorts of environments. Brokers selling it to their global employers, all the way through to payroll companies, onboarding people.
So when you mention travel apps, so if I understand correctly, basically you can white label it.
Embed it through API, so it's not
Okay.
necessarily white label, but it looks just like their experience. So it's not our logo right in the middle of their app. It's in the end they're going to be aware that they're buying a policy that we've put together, but it's going to be in their colors and all their stuff all through the whole process, not shouting out us. Yeah.
Okay. So for the broker channel, because probably half my listeners are brokers. What kind of brokers are a good fit? And is there a minimum required amount of flow to qualify?
It's a really interesting time to look at this, because our type of product throughout the last 15, 20 years has been represented by global benefits brokers, specialized brokers for global benefits. But now we're having the local farmer's agent reach out to us and say, hey, look, I have a client that's moving overseas because they can retire early. Can I represent your plans? And it's super easy through our partner page, insurednomads.com/partners. And it's a very simple process, but brokers coming to us saying, okay, we have an athletic event. And we have a Chicago, Bank of America Chicago Marathon came to us. Previously, they'd partnered with American Airlines and these different things, but before COVID, making sure that people flying into the US and having health insurance was never on their mind. 18,000 runners. But last year and this year now, we're partnering with them. And that came to us through a broker in the Chicago area saying, okay, they need a short-term travel policy for travel medical for all these people coming in. So it runs the gamut from those specialized divisions within One Digital, IMA, Gallagher, the likes, New Front, ABD, etc., all the way to your local agent who says, I'm tired of the travel agent getting all these policies, because now their business clients are giving people the freedom to take their computer and work some, even if their husband's on vacation, though the partner may be with them working from the beach and they need coverage.
Okay, so truly, the distribution can be accessed by any licensed agent. So that's
correct.
That's fantastic. Are you are you hearing from brokers actively marketing any success from brokers using it to grow relationships, or has it been more reactive, more like the farmer's guy saying, I never get this request before and now I'm getting it a few times?
No, it's folks hearing about us saying, look, there haven't been options in our space. It's been the exact same schedule of benefits that they've been presenting, just with a different logo on the brochure, saying, okay, we can present this one, see if they'll come back with a better price. Now it's the thing, oh wow, duty of care is built in. They're getting more than just medical. They're getting access to airport lounges. They're getting VPN for their phone. They're getting all this stuff built into the policy. So of course, they're saying, finally, our job isn't boring. We're not just saying, here's the same brochure again, just with different colors on it. This is something we can take with joy to the client, saying, hey, finally, I've got something interesting here. And it's, for those companies that do have the concept of duty of care, the well-being, this is a no-brainer. I'm thinking of one broker that's represented the 7 leading in our space for ages in both travel and global health, regional, international health insurance, and saying, he's the one that just rings out saying, finally, my role isn't as boring as it's been for the last 10 years.
Okay. For individual travelers, so if you're not buying through the group side, you're buying individually from the website, are there limits? I'm heading to Israel for just a week coming up. Is that long enough? On the other hand, okay, and on the other hand, if we're taking 2 years off of work, can you handle either scenario, basically?
Yes, both of those are normal. And I'm reminded of a message I got earlier today with somebody on my team saying that this manufacturing company in northern Michigan just moved over to us because they have folks going over to a plant in Asia on a regular basis, but they also have a couple of employees that will be living there. So in that one client from earlier today, both those scenarios are meeting their needs. And that came to a local small town Michigan agent that turned out that one of his manufacturing clients ended up buying a company over there and had this need. So it's not necessarily the brokers, the agents that have dealt with this for years. It's the ones who haven't had the option, haven't told their clients that, hey, if you have this scenario, we can help you also.
Okay. What so normally I look at the LinkedIns of the people that I interview, and very often either they were tech people or they were insurance people, and in your case, it's hard to figure out because you've had so much international experience. But I am curious. Once you decided to build this company, given your broad international background, was it pretty easy to get it off the ground, or what were kind of the biggest challenges?
Yeah, some of the challenges, and I'll go to background real quick. I went straight from undergrad into healthcare administration and to a clinic out in Kansas, met a doctor who wanted to practice medicine in an African country. So that took us to a humanitarian work in Ghana, where we went to a clinic, a remote clinic. I was hospital administrator. She was the medical director, and took her to Liverpool for a specialist in travel medicine. Came back to the US, she got her MBA, Master's in Public Health, and she is our Chief Medical Officer, my wife. Then combine that with Alan Koski and the others that joined our founding team. Really, the biggest challenges in putting this together is finding those collaborators that are willing to step outside what's always been done. One of those has been in tying in the MasterCard network. Because in a space that's traditionally reimbursement based, which is a pain for the customer, to be able to provide a digital and plastic card to where they can swipe at the hospital or clinic and pay, or if they were already paid, we can just load that digital card anywhere in the world. That is one of the biggest challenges that we've been able to meet, because traditionally the TPA is sending out a check, a paper check. So if we're insuring an Israeli that's working in Costa Rica and they just bought a product from an American company, they were going to get an American bank check in Costa Rica where they don't have a bank account, much less a US bank account, US dollar account, and have that check thinking, what do I do with this? But that's what's still being done so much of the time, because the claims administrator has always done that. So that's an example of one of the ways that we have had some friction as we've looked at this, saying, look, this duty of care, building in a panic button that rings to our ops centers in Copenhagen and Orlando, so they're boots on the ground responding in times of disaster, that's never been done, except for key employees and large corporations.
So never accessible to just
anybody,
regular people.
Right. That goes back to when we lived in Ghana, because I ran it. We were running this hospital 2 hours from Kumasi, 7 hours from the capital city, and we ran into some international SOS guys. International SOS is the response provider around the world that insurance companies are contracted with and multinational firms are contracted with. And we told them, yeah, we're doing work with an NGO. They, of course, laughed at us and said, you can't afford us. And it's true. We couldn't afford them because they're contracted by the oil and gas and mining companies and for high net worth individuals. So years later, we were able to build in and basically embed that within our tech stack. And so when you ask what are some of the things that have been The challenges, it's been pushing forward technology that people are accustomed to having at their fingertips and bringing it out to where it's accessible to more and more people. Not just walk through the airport thinking, man, I wish I was a million miler and I could be in that airport lounge. So that's part of our benefit package, is getting people in that airport lounge, making it to where everyone's got access to a VPN for their phone, because we're all aware of cyber risk, but not many people are actually turning it on before checking their bank balances when they're in the cafe just down the street from their house or overseas. So it's getting the right tools in people's hands in this season of the world where people expect it, they're just not sure how to get it.
Okay, so basically a lot of the coverages existed, but they were distributed and managed in a very inefficient way, so making them very expensive.
Yeah, and it's not accessible to everybody. Insurance as a service in a advanced tech enabled delivery fashion is what we've brought to the market, because everybody's having to buy protection for every single device, a claim per device. They're having to buy their VPN separately. They're having to get their airport lounge separately. If they do that, they're having to piece together so much for this lifestyle to get protection. It should be easier, and it is now.
Makes sense. Awesome. So when this goes live, I will tag you on LinkedIn, and I'll include the website, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's literally Insured Nomads. Yeah, insurednomads.com. So super easy. Very, very, very. This is very interesting. Very different from the great majority of the products and services around the insurance that we tend to talk about, and I think that by far the most international that I've had on the show. So thank you very much for your time.
Well, hey, it's been fun. We're backed by some amazing venture partners, those that are specialized in the insurance, insurtech space, as well as some fabulous army of angels. So as we enter our third year, this is going to be fun as we face a new round of funding and expansion, with hopefully an acquisition or two in Europe and other places. So thanks for having me on, Tony, and look forward
My
to
pleasure.
hearing some great episodes ahead.
Thank you.